up in the Philippines, and my childhood was defined by wild adventures, climbing towering trees, stirring up mischief, and dashing through open fields. That curious, restless energy was who I was as a kid. I must have been around 10 years old when one particularly lazy afternoon changed everything. I was lying on my bed, bored and fidgety, when something outside my window caught my attention. It was a rambutan tree, branches heavy with bright red, ripe fruit, practically begging to be picked. The tree stood next to an old, crumbling ruin near our home. We were warned repeatedly not to go near it, but, as kids do, we ignored those warnings more often than not. Without hesitation, I climbed up the rambutan tree, entirely focused on grabbing the juiciest fruits. I perched on a branch and began feasting, sweet juice dripping down my chin, the kind of moment that felt timeless. But just as I was settling in, something odd happened. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed movement inside the shattered window of the ruins. A flicker, a quick flash of motion, and then it was gone. I squinted, rubbed my eyes, and told myself it was just shadows playing tricks. That place had been abandoned for as long as I could remember. No one lived there. No one could live there. But just as I popped another fruit into my mouth, it happened again. Only this time, it didn't disappear. Two shapes stood still in the window frame, watching me. They looked human, sort of, but not quite. Their skin had a leathery texture, their forms large and bulky, and their backs were covered in something hard, like a turtle shell. Their eyes burned red, glowing with an unnatural intensity, and their mouths were jagged and sharp, more like a snapping turtle than anything human. I froze. Every part of me was locked in terror. My hands lost grip, and I tumbled from the tree, hitting the ground hard. Scraped, shaken, and barefoot, I bolted, sprinting all the way back home. I didn't stop. I didn't look back. I didn't even notice I'd left my slippers behind. I never told anyone. I thought they'd laugh or simply dismiss me. As the years went by, I began to convince myself that it had been a vivid hallucination or an overactive imagination. That was until a conversation with my grandmother years later. She was reminiscing about the old neighborhood and brought up the decrepit house near ours, the same ruins. I asked why it had stayed abandoned for so long. Her answer made my blood run cold. She said, "No one wants that house. 2 people took their own lives there. They hanged themselves." I didn't respond. I couldn't. All I could see in my mind were those 2 turtle-like figures watching me through that broken window. After that, I began to sketch what I saw, the house, the creatures, those red eyes, as proof to myself that I hadn't made it up. It was real. I know that now. This next story happened to me in 2014 when I was in the 4th grade. At the time, my classmates and I were all obsessed with this fictional horror figure, Slenderman. You've probably heard of him. He featured in games, stories, even a few low-budget horror films, and every kid in school was talking about him. One night, I had a terrifying dream. I was at our local swimming complex, just getting ready for a lesson, when I spotted Slenderman standing dead center in the corridor between the changing rooms, silently watching me. Then he moved. He started chasing me, and I ran, heart racing, legs flying. Just as he was about to grab me, I woke up, gasping for air. I ran to my parents' bedroom in a panic, still trembling. I told them about the dream and begged to sleep in their room. They let me lay down on the floor between their beds. About half an hour later, I woke up again, this time to a loud, blaring noise. My dad jumped up too, realizing it was the house fire alarm. It had gone off randomly for no apparent reason. They searched the entire home, top to bottom, and found nothing out of the ordinary. No smoke, no fire, just silence. The official explanation was that the alarm was faulty. That's what they told me. But in all the years we'd lived there, not once had that alarm gone off by itself. To this day, I still wonder if there was more to it, if somehow my nightmare and that eerie midnight alarm were connected. In 2015, something happened that still haunts me. We live way out in the countryside, far from town, surrounded by farmland, with no close neighbors. So, when a stranger shows up out of nowhere, it's instantly suspicious. One day, my dad was outside when a random man approached him, totally uninvited, and asked, "Want a Pepsi?" No introduction. No reason. Just that. My dad politely declined. Who offers a drink like that to a stranger in the middle of nowhere? You can't trust something like that. Later that day, our whole family, mom, dad, my sisters, and I loaded into the truck to go into town. Walmart run. The drive winds through acres of almond, pistachio, and grape orchards. It's a long, dusty road surrounded by trees. And that's when we saw it. A black van. Parked off to the side, curtains pulled tight over every window. A chemical, rotting stench filled the air near it like something dead mixed with acid. It made our eyes water. The man inside was dressed in all black, sunglasses on even though the sun was already setting. And then he smiled at us. But not a friendly smile, something cold, something sinister. It made my skin crawl. We continued on, got our shopping done, and headed back home. But as we pulled up to our driveway, something was off. Fresh tire tracks. Footprints, we brushed it off. Figured it might have been orchard workers or passers-by. That evening, my sister pointed out flashing red and blue lights in the sky. A helicopter flew overhead. Strange for our small town. The next morning, it all made sense. The news broke. A body had been discovered in a nearby canal, mutilated. Fingers cut off. Eyes gouged out. The victim? The man who had offered my dad that Pepsi. And the suspect? The man in the black van. We had driven right past a murderer, looked him in the eyes, and just kept going. This last story is from when I was around 4 years old, though most of the details come from my mother and brother. Back then, I apparently had a lot of sleep issues, things like night terrors and hallucinations. My father was often away working, so he doesn't remember much, but my mother does. They say that every time we passed by a vacant house, I would ring the doorbell and announce, "Peekaboo will open the door." Sometimes, I would just stare down dark hallways and whisper, "Peekaboo is there." According to me, Peekaboo was a little boy, raggedy clothes, messy hair, like a worn-out doll stitched back together. His voice? High-pitched and eerie. He'd yell, "Peekaboo," and just hearing it would send me into fits of panic. The most terrifying part? I would wake up in the middle of the night, screaming like I was being torn apart. My mom would rush to my side, and I'd cry out, "Peekaboo is coming for me." I vividly remembered sleeping in the master bedroom, square room, attached bathroom, and seeing him. He'd stand silently in the doorway, watching. Then he'd charge at me, screaming, "Peekaboo," and I'd wake up. This went on for about 2 years. Then it stopped. Coincidentally, around the same time my parents divorced and we moved out. Years later, when I was 10, I asked my mom if she remembered that house. She gave me a serious look and said that place had something spiritual beneath it. Some nights, I'd hear growling and moaning under my bed and under the master bedroom floor. I felt sick. Who or what was Peekaboo? A ghost? A demon? Something else entirely? I may never find out.